If you're a custom manufacturer or job shop owner, I'm about to show you why you've been fighting the wrong battles. You're constantly busy with improvement projects, but somehow your profits aren't growing. That's because most manufacturers are focused on the wrong things, and it's costing you millions. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you the 99-to-1 rule that's transforming manufacturing businesses worldwide. How fixing just 1% of your operation can solve 99% of your problems. I'm talking about you having 70% faster delivery times, 50% less inventory sitting around, and 63% more revenue, all by focusing on one thing instead of playing whack-a-mole with endless problems. I'm Dr. Lisa Lang, President of Science of Business, and I've been called the Job Shop Whisperer. For over 2 decades, I've helped hundreds of custom manufacturers stop the chaos and start making serious money. And here's the thing, every minute you delay finding your real constraint, your competitors are getting ahead. So let's jump in and find your Herbie. Welcome. Today we're diving into a really powerful process for supercharging your business. It's called POOGI, and trust me, it all comes down to one simple but absolutely crucial idea: focus. So if you're a business leader, does this sound familiar? You see a problem, you whack it. Another one pops up over here, you whack that one too. It feels like you're just constantly fighting fires, running from one urgent improvement project to the next. And the result, you get a ton of motion, right? A lot of meetings, a lot of effort, everybody's busy. But when you look at the bottom line at the end of the quarter, you're just left scratching your head wondering, did any of that activity actually make us more money? It's an incredibly common and frustrating trap to be in. But what if you could just stop playing whack-a-mole? What if there was a systematic way to find the one single change that would have the biggest possible impact on your profits? Well, it turns out there is. First, though, let's take a closer look at this problem, which we'll call the improvement trap. Because, understanding the trap is always the first step to getting out of it. The world is just full of fantastic, good ideas. You've got Lean, Six Sigma, new software systems, fancy new machines, off-site strategy sessions. I mean, the list is endless. All of these things are powerful tools, no doubt. But with so many options, the real question becomes, where do you even start? Which one is actually going to move the needle for you right now? And that is exactly where the solution comes in. So let's introduce the core concept for today, POOGI. POOGI, that's P-O-O-G-I, and stands for Process of Ongoing Improvement. Now, it's not about adding more ideas to that already overwhelming list. Instead, it's a systematic way to focus all your improvement efforts exactly where they're going to generate the most profit. And this is the most important part to get. POOGI isn't another tool to add to your list. Think of it more like the focusing mechanism that tells you which tool to use, where to use it, and when to use it so you get the absolute maximum effect. To really get how this works, we need to talk about a Boy Scout named Herbie. I know, sounds random. But this story just brilliantly illustrates the central idea. The story comes from the classic business novel, The Goal. And in it, a troop of Boy Scouts is on a hike, but they keep getting spread out and falling behind schedule. And the reason? Well, it turns out there's one scout, Herbie, who is the slowest hiker in the entire group. The scout leader has this aha moment. He realizes the entire troop can only move as fast as its slowest member. Yelling at the fast kids to slow down didn't work. The only way to speed up the entire line was to figure out how to help Herbie move faster. So here's the big takeaway. Every system, and that includes your business, has a Herbie. We call this the constraint. It is the one single part of your process that limits the entire system's output. And here's the key. Improving anything other than the constraint is basically wasted effort. It's not going to increase your overall profits. And this is the key question that POOGI forces you to answer. What is the one thing? Is it a person, a machine, a department, a policy? What is the one thing that's holding everyone else back? Look, if you're not making infinite profit, then something is restricting you. Do you know what it is? Okay, so how does this all build into a practical process? Let's look at how you can actually find and fix your Herbie on an ongoing basis. The process really starts by looking at your business as a system of flows. First, you've got information flow. That's things like plans, specs, approvals, basically the stuff that tells people what to do. Then you have operations flow, the physical materials or services moving through your system to the customer. And critically, you have money flow, which is the rate you generate cash through sales. Your constraint, your Herbie, is always going to be causing a disruption or a bottleneck in one of these three flows. So that brings us to the four-step POOGI process. First, you identify and map out these key flows in your business. Second, you start to track disruptions, and I mean everything. You log every single thing that stops or slows down work, whether it's missing info, a machine breakdown, you name it. Third, you assemble a POOGI team, a cross-functional group that can actually analyze this data and see the big picture. Break down those silos. And finally, the most important step of all, the team focuses all of its energy on fixing the number one cause of disruption, not the top 5, just one. Then you do it all over again and find the next Herbie. Now, this intense focus, it provides incredible leverage. The payoff from finding and fixing your one true constraint is, well, it's pretty astounding. I'm sure we've all heard of the 80-20 rule, right? The idea that 20% of the causes lead to 80% of the problems. Well, when you apply POOGI to your system's constraint, the leverage is way more dramatic. It's more like a 99-1 rule. By fixing that one critical thing, that 1%, you resolve 99% of the issues that are holding back your bottom line. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, on average, companies that implement these principles see a 70% reduction in lead times. Just imagine that, delivering your product or service to customers in less than a third of the time it takes you now. They see a nearly 50% reduction in inventory. That is a massive amount of cash that gets unlocked from sitting on warehouse shelves and is put back to work in your business. And here's the number that really matters most, right? A 63% increase in revenue. And this happens because by fixing your constraint, you can get more stuff shipped in the same amount of time with the same operating expenses. That's more output for the same cost, which is pure profit. This quote from Stephen Covey, it really captures the spirit of POOGI for me. It's all about making a conscious choice to work on what's truly important, the constraint. Because if you're not actively working on the most important thing, you are by default committing your resources to the unimportant. So I'll leave you with this. Just forget about the dozens of projects on your list for a minute. If you could only fix one thing in your business to make more money, what would it be? Finding your answer to that question, well, that's the entire point of the process of ongoing improvement.